I mean, we'll be completely honest here. This is primarily just me and Matt being very, very disheartened after that interview with Ian. That's sort of like, I know that there's a very high chance that, one too many of streams like this and we'll basically never get an interview with him again or something like that.
After this one, it'll be something. Blame me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm fine with that. Like, we're at the point where it's like we don't even really need a beta to get around just fine as a group. I mean, obviously beta is nice to have and you can get feedback,
of course,
and stuff like that. It is depressing when you feel like a lot of that feedback is given and then promptly ignored.
Yeah,
like with Azerite. I guess that's the thing. The beta testers have told them how to fix every expansion in the last few that they've made, and they have just went, no, beta testers, we're not going to take your feedback on board. And then they've instantly made all of the mistakes the beta testers warned them about, with the exact impact the beta testers said would happen.
Yeah.
It's sort of hard to understand. So it's just that thing where I guess I'm at the stage where, what I really enjoy making the most is lore content.
Yeah, it's great.
So I'm just going to sit there and be like, yeah, well, I know I can make lore content and have a very fun time writing that and researching that and doing all the stuff in game. And I guess making peace with that is just now the sort of thing where it's like I now feel comfortable just being completely raw about this stuff. I mean, I don't view us as being the people in the community to have that 1 hour long, maybe in a different timeline, but that 1 hour long discussion with Ian. Because ultimately, I know if I had a discussion with Ian about world quests, I would want to ask follow-up questions. I would want to grill him on every aspect of why he thinks they are, whatever. And based on these interviews that have happened, I know there would be no satisfactory conclusion for us or for Blizzard in something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Do they play games over there?
They clearly
do they
do not
play the one they make.
They clearly do not play the video. Well, they definitely play the game they make. Of course they do. They may not play so much of it on live servers versus internal testing stuff, because that would explain why a lot of people do look at armories for devs, especially Ian, and go
Mr. Grogthok.
and go, you haven't done this. How could you talk about it? But obviously they have internal servers.
Yeah.
They're playing all this stuff all the time and testing it almost for sure. But it's man, I don't know. It's like it feels like they really should. Maybe once the big run is sort of completely out of the way, people are more happy with going international or wherever else, or even if it is online. If Blizzard were actually super serious, they really should throw all of their PR shit out the window and get maybe not live, maybe do it pre-recorded, maybe even sign NDAs to ban people sharing stuff, but they should get actually community members and people from a wide array in to talk for maybe like a week, because I think if anyone at Activision Blizzard is feeling the burn and we're feeling it, then it's a case where the leaders of communities across the entire spectrum should be sat down with the entire development team of Blizzard for a completely utterly like no holds barred is the term I'm looking for.
Yeah.
No holds barred discussion of, right, we need to know as a community, why is none of this happening? Why is all this happening? Can you please explain to us? We will help you. We will help you come up with novel ideas, novel solutions, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, get the class team in a room, send THD in, send a security guy in so he doesn't start swinging.
Yeah, you might need. Strat THD down. Be like, don't you try anything funny, mate. You're. Don't you be chaos bolting the developers?
Yeah, stuff like that. Get Max, get Preach, get THD, get all of those people who have a say in the community into a room and go, right, let's talk about this like adults, not a company and a community, or a company and toxic people. Just, can we please discuss the matter at hand? Please, because that would be great.
That's the thing. That's why the stuff with Preach, those interviews, have been so refreshing to people.
It's
because
fantastic.
Finally there has been a discussion with a Blizzard developer that doesn't feel like there's a PR gun to the back of everybody's head.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, there was still community team
there
oversight. In that
always
one.
is.
Of course, there will be, but it was a lot more sort of raw, I guess, which is nice. You do wonder why Blizzard, like, in what way did they do that interview with Preach, knowing what they were going to say to the questions that he had sent them, and think it was a good idea for their PR? Because both times that Preach has talked to Ian, everyone's just basically turned up and be like, well, that was a load of wag. We all disagree.
I guess there's three, but there's like two or three potential reasons there, I imagine. One is they're so blind they don't see what's wrong with their answers and expect it to go swimmingly.
Oh, I hope it's not that.
Or two, which is this one's a little bit unfair, but they expect it to be a bit of a disaster and have something in the tank to actually counter it sooner.
I remember Asmongold sort of. I don't know if he just facetiously ascribed to that, but he was pretty much been like, it's almost as if they launch all this broken stuff so they can fix it later and get claps from the community.
No,
where it's like, I don't think they're playing any 4D chess. No. I think that this is all just genuinely like mistakes that are being made.
So, and then the third option, which I really hope is the correct option, is the right the one that's the truth behind it all is they actually go, okay, this isn't perfect, but we'll send you out there and we'll be genuine with our community. We will explain to them what we're thinking and get their feedback and then think about it. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to feel.
That interview felt entirely like, I hear what you just said, but I disagree.
Yeah, number one.
That is what that whole interview felt like. That is what the last big interview felt like.
Yeah.
That is generally what it feels like from the WoW team. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't even know if they think that or not. Because of some of these things, like, if they do think it, then I just can't get in their head and understand how they think what they think. Which does make me then think that they know all this stuff's messy. But they are not able to actually admit that publicly. Because admitting an L is maybe a big problem at Blizzard.
Yeah, they've all got sharks swimming around their feet at work, or now at home, I guess.
Yeah,
waiting to jump at them, like.
Yeah, it's just so it's so depressing because it's like, man, we just want the most basic, simple shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like it then just feels like we have to fight with the game every single expansion just to get back to where we were, and nothing is gained in the process. Or it's like, can you just imagine what a let's just say hello to Bajira and Pint in chat.
Hello, folks.
It's just like, imagine if World of Warcraft was just real simple. Yeah. And then that bought them the time to do that stuff that a lot of players want, like more customizations and player housing, or maybe the Covenant Order halls being carried forward into the future. All of those things that are like World of Warcraft, not Destiny 2 has been shoved into an MMORPG. Yeah, man, it's just... it's like I have a different framework of how I try to think through this every single time we do a stream, because it's just all forms of baffling to me.
Yeah.
And then it's funny because you see the classic team, as much as they're doing all that store stuff, which is obviously not them, that's just Activision shit. But it's like you see the classic people, and they seem to be way more in touch with their community.
Yeah. They're solving problems in intelligent ways over there.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Which is certainly the opposite of what the modern team do. They solve problems in extremely convoluted, stupid ways.
Yes.
And you know what? Even though that'll probably mean no fucking interviews for me, I don't care. Don't care anymore. You can't butter things up for an audience and have a clear moral, conscience or anything like that.
Yeah. While their priorities are for interviews and for PR is not to get to the truth of things and make the game better. While that's not their 100% genuine priority, there is little value, at least as far as I'm concerned, in them anyway. Because at the end of the day, I think everyone wants roughly the same thing, which is
we want to play more World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I want to get a 6-month sub and go, you know what? I'll probably be done with most of this content in 3 or 4 months, but the last 2 months will have stuff that I'm still happy to do.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. As opposed to, why did I do that?
Yeah, instead it took us like, what, 3.5 years to get class sets back?
Yeah.
Even though people, as soon as they removed them, were like, hey, we'd really like class sets, by the way.
Where'd they go, please?
Why do we have to wait? Why do we have to wait 3.5 or how many years?
I don't know how many years it's been.
It was from the beta through to now. It's like they seem absurdly content with going against the common wisdom of the player base. And like, I'm not saying that the WoW development team should just be a pack of lemmings, no, jumping to the every demand of the players. You can't develop a game like that, obviously. But it's just that it gets to the stage where it all just seems so wacky and backwards that it shouldn't be that, like, imagine, I don't know, it's like if every time Yoshi P talked to, say an influencer in Final Fantasy Land and the whole community had an uproar over it. It's like, how long could that cycle keep on going before they're like, maybe the problem is what Yoshi P is saying? Bring it up that way. It's like, how long can they wheel out Ian into these interviews and have big controversies happen before they maybe realize, oh, maybe it's actually what he's saying that is the problem, the thing that people don't like. Just not to say that it's purely personally Ian. He is there as a figurehead, as a spokesperson for the entire sort of collective decision making of the World of Warcraft development team. So it's not to put this in him personally. It's just it's that tricky thing when if you put yourself in the figurehead position, that's how people will perceive you. I think that's it. That's like an hour-long interview. I think we've talked about this for 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh boy.
This is definitely some of our most, I guess, uncut sort of content, but I feel like this is the only way that we can properly talk about this stuff. There's no point in dressing it up in, a tightly written script or a bunch of edits. It's like, no, we just kind of have to be a bit more raw and off the cuff for something like this, because it has to come from the heart. And it does. It does.
Past the hours certainly did for me.
Yeah.
Certainly did.
Yeah, and like people need to know, like, we are both people who, we want to be playing this game many hours a day.
Absolutely, yeah.
And neither of us want to do that purely in raids and dungeons and PvP.
No, I
want raids and dungeons and PvP to be like these, little sprinkles of things I do, every now and then, maybe twice a week. That's what I love about our raid schedule. And in between that, I want to be milling about Azeroth, doing stuff in my character, and it's like, doing the same world quests again and again that's not the ticket, boys. It's just not. It's just not. Even compare it like to, I'm just thinking if I had never unlocked Netherwing, I'd have more fun doing Netherwing than I would doing, anima stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's like Netherwing, yeah, you get your new level of rep. Now you've unlocked the racing quest. Cool. Different. I know that I very commonly go back to these old reputations, and I know that they're not perfect by any means, but a lot of why I do that is because they were different. They were like a bespoke, distinct activity.
Yes.
You wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to go do reputations, because no, like Spargar and Shatari Skyguard and the Ogre Dudes, Ogre La, and Netherwing, they're all very different. So they actually would feel like distinct activities. Like you're hopping about, if you're doing some Netherwing, then you go to do Kelton Ass. It's different stuff.
Stuff to do.
There's different stuff to do instead of just world quest. And then the next day, same world quest. World quest I got 2 days ago. It's like, where's the thought about player experience? How it's actually perceived?
It's not. Player experience is not the sole driver of their development efforts or design efforts.
Evidently.
Yes.
Which is very sad to say.